Okay, it's going.
Okay, so we are at Jules' art studio here in the Marais. You're gonna follow me in through this door into the courtyard. And I say in the book that Jules' studio is on the second floor landing. So you can see the windows right up there. And I'm going to go ahead and read to you from the section in book 2. So let's go this way. All right. In book 1. This starts on page 50. He led me to an apartment building that practically oozed with old Paris charm next to the Eglise St. We climbed a tightly winding wood staircase to the second floor landing. Vincent knocked once before pushing the door open. The studio's walls were hung with paintings all the way up to the high ceiling. Reclining nudes hung alongside geometric-looking townscapes. The visual overload of color and form was as overwhelming as the strong smell of paint thinner. In the far corner of the room, a stunningly beautiful woman was draped across an emerald green couch. Dressed in a tiny bathrobe that barely covered her, she might as well have been naked. "Hi, Vincent," she called across the room with a low, smoky voice that couldn't have matched her seductive looks better if she had bought them as a paired set. Vincent's friend Jules walked out of the tiny bathroom just beyond the couch. Wiping some dripping paintbrushes on a rag, he said without looking up, "Vince, man, just getting started with Valerie here. Did you get Jean-Baptiste's call?" "Jules, we have to talk," Vincent said with a sense of urgency that made Jules' head jerk up. He looked at me in surprise, and then seeing Vincent's face, his own darkened. "What's going on?" Vincent cleared his throat, staring expressionlessly at Jules. He pronounced his words with care. "Kate and I were walking around the Village St. Paul, and I saw someone there." The code word meant something to Jules. His eyes narrowed. "Outside," he said, looking sideways at me, and strode out the door. "Be right back, Kate," Vincent said. "Oh, and this is Valerie, one of Jules' models." And having made that introduction, he followed Jules into the staircase, the door slamming behind him. A gentleman even during a crisis, I thought, amazed at Vincent's sang-froid in making sure I was introduced to Naked Girl before leaving us alone together. "Hi," I said. "Bonjour," she replied, bored. Picking up a paperback, she settled back to read. I lingered near the door, looking at the paintings while trying to hear what was going on inside. Their voices were hushed, but I could pick up a few words. "Couldn't do anything without backup," Vincent was saying, bitter regret in his voice. "I'm with you now. Ambrose can be our third," Jules responded. There was silence, and then Vincent was speaking to someone on the phone. He hung up and said, "He's on his way." "Why the hell did you bring her with you?" Jules sounded incredulous. "I'm not on duty 24/7. She's with me because we had a date." Vincent's low voice traveled through the thin wood door easily. He called it a date, I thought, with as much pleasure as I could derive under the circumstances. "That's exactly why she should not be here," Jules continued. "JB only said we couldn't bring people home. I don't see why she can't come here." Their voices were getting lower. I scooted closer to the door, keeping an eye on Valerie, who glanced at me and backed down at her book. She obviously couldn't care less if I was eavesdropping. "Dude, anywhere we have a permanent address is off limits for dates, or whatever. You know the rules. In any case, date's over." There was a pregnant silence, which I imagined was taken up by lots of boy-to-boy stare-down action. And then the door opened and Vincent walked in looking apologetic. "Kate, I'm sorry. I have to take care of something. I'll walk you to the metro." I waited for him to give an explanation, but none came. "That's okay," I said, trying to sound like I didn't mind. Bells. I'm pausing for a second. These are the bells of the Eglise St. Paul. O'clock, 11 o'clock. But don't worry about seeing me to the metro. I'll do some wandering on my own. Walk up to Rue de Rosier for some shopping or something." He looked relieved, as if that was the response he had hoped for. "I'll at least come downstairs with you." "No, really, that's okay," I said, feeling a little cloud of anger form inside me. Something was obviously going on that I didn't know about. But it was still rude of Jules to demand that I leave, not to mention cowardly of Vincent to give in. I insist, he said, and opening the door for me, he followed me out to the hallway. Jules stood, arms crossed over his chest, glowering at us. Vincent walked me down the stairs and into the courtyard, right here. I'm sorry, he said, there's something going on, something I have to take care of. Like police business, you mean? I said, unable to hide my sarcasm. Yeah, something like that, he said evasively. And you can't talk about it? No. Well, I guess I'll see you around our neighborhood, I said, attempting to mask my disappointment with a smile. I'll see you soon, he said, and reached out his hand for mine. Though I wasn't very happy with him, his touch warmed me to my toes. Promise, he added, looking like he wanted to say more. Then giving my hand a squeeze, he turned to walk back into the building. My bad mood eased a little with his gesture, and I wandered through the gate feeling not quite ditched, but not very pleased with how things had turned out either. Okay, that's the end of the passage. That's the end of the courtyard. And a little, not again. We'll wait. I'll cut this part. And a little teaser for book 2. A little teaser for book 2. Someone is going to jump out of that window on the 2nd floor down into the courtyard.
I started it. It's going.